Welcome to the Welcome to Wrexham podcast, where we talk a little bit of Wrexham and a whole lot of Wrexham. I hope you are feeling welcome and you are feeling Wrexhamed at this time. I seem to have activated my Alexa in the process of saying so we'll see if she chimes in, but thank you for joining us. I am the co-hosts. I am the co-hosts, one of Chuck Bailey, Ian Stimson. Boys, we're just going to talk about Welcome to Wrexham for the next hour and a half. Just strap in. Obviously, the romance, Ian. It means so much to the town.
I haven't seen any of it yet. I'm looking forward to it. I've only heard good things from even people like yourself who I would have thought would have just disregarded it as rubbish. Have you seen the Sunderland one? I mean, you've got to see the Sunderland one as well.
No, I know Sunderland, so I don't want to see about them.
Oh, I see. You like the introduction to a brand new...
Well, I already dislike Sunderland, so I can't enjoy a show about them.
No, you can watch that then because it's an absolute shit show. It's brilliant.
Oh, they go down. They went down, right? They went double down.
Well, yeah, but the documentary is showing them failing to get up again with some hilarious behind the scenes people. It's very.
That just sounds sad.
Yeah, it is sad, but if you dislike Sunderland, that's a good thing.
Oh no, what if the Wrexham one is sad too? See, we're in it. They just got the new signing. Come on, Pat Mullins, he's going to score all the goals.
Paul Mullin.
There's hope right now. We're living on hope on a 2 years ago, maybe, I don't know, season of Wrexham.
Whatever, yeah.
Oh my God, every week we're like, oh, are they going to go good? Is it going to be bad? Is this a happy season? A bad,
They won 5-0 at the weekend.
This season, yeah, but I don't know what happened that season.
But how can you say no spoilers? Football exists. You can't just...
For that season. I don't know what happened that season.
And then they're going to do another season and you're not going to be able to look.
Apparently no one else wants to talk about Wrexham, but I welcome all Wrexham fans to this podcast. If you are joining us for the first time...
Just don't tweet Oscar and tell him what happened that season, for fuck's
sake. Yes, please, no spoilers. I recognize that the idea of spoilers there is confusing, but you know what I mean. There's spoilers for the show if you don't know what happened. This is like a show based on a book, right? Except the book is a real life thing that happened, but you don't have to look up the ending to the book if you haven't read the book. I'm just saying. Anyway, we are one American and 2 Brits, and we try to talk about the Premier League, but often get distracted. If you are joining us for the first time, thank you. We're very happy to have you. We love you. We appreciate it. We hope you enjoy this podcast. If you're returning, patreon.com/milesoffsidepod. Get all sorts of goodies and friendship and love in the Slack, a wonderful little corner of the internet. There's FPL stuff. Check the links, click the links, join the leagues, all the good things. And I guess we'll get to... I don't know. How are we going to do this? There's been a lot of games. There's been a transfer window. There's been more refereeing nonsense. What's the plan here, Ian? Tell me.
Why don't we just go, not team by team, because there is 20 of them. It seems like a lot, doesn't it?
That's almost as much as the other years.
Yeah, nearly. Let's just go through any teams that seem like they're in a strange position based on where we thought they'd be at the start, or have had an interesting transfer window. We can go from bottom to top or something like that.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Starting at the bottom, we have Leicester. I don't know that many people would have them in 20th right now. They are negative 0.6 expected goal difference per 90, which is pretty terrible. Not 20th worst, but still down in relegation form. By the underlying, again, take that with a grain of salt, but the context of those underlying numbers is that they have had a terrible, terrible window, and everything is just all sorts of bad vibes all the time.
Bournemouth lost 9-0 and have only conceded 2 goals more than Leicester.
Not ideal, I think. I mean, they did do something on the weekend, right? Is it as simple as, get Plug Vardy out of there because he's old, and if you put someone else in, they might...
Yeah, sure. It worked really well, and they lost 5-2 to Brighton.
They scored 2 goals.
As many as 2. They were 1-0 up after 1 minute, and that lasted 12 minutes before they were losing.
They're in trouble, aren't they? They're playing, Ndidi as a centre-back. They're all arguing with each other. Ward looks like he can't step up as goalkeeper. Everyone in the team seemed to be having a go at everyone else in the team.
Danny Ward, for post-shot XG minus goals allowed, is in the 1th percentile in the top 5 leagues across Europe.
Ooh. Wow.
Goals against, he is in the 1th percentile. Save percentage, he is in the 1th percentile. Yeah?
Ouch.
Need I say more?
So is Rodgers gonna walk? Is he waiting for them to sack him?
I think he's waiting for them to sack him because he wants that sweet, sweet payoff. But they don't want to pay him off. That's it. He's not
Never
going to
quit
leave.
your job, Ian. Always get fired.
I'm not sure that's good advice, people. In football, it does seem to be, because, that's the way you make most of your money, apparently, if you're a manager.
I'm pretty sure we're still paying Jose Mourinho for the first time he was here, so I don't know. It's pretty good getting fired as a football
I think that's how he's made most of his money, Jose. But I sort of, I don't know whether, do I feel sorry for Brendan Rodgers? Probably not.
No, I don't feel sorry for him or for Leicester. Like we talked about this last year. Fuck off. You got your league title. You got your FA Cup. You can fuck off back to the Championship.
Exactly.
No one
There's
cares.
more teams. Let's move on.
Done. Next up, Nottingham Forest. Who knows anything about anything? Do we give them a question mark for the window? Seems like money laundering to me. That's my official conspiracy theory at this point.
They stopped on blackjack, but free agents can still happen.
Yeah.
I know. I want them to get to 25. I want them to get to 25 because that would just be so poetic.
What, like a whole Premier League squad?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 21 new transfers.
Jesus. I mean, I don't even know if Steve Cooper knows really yet he can't possibly know what his team looks like yet, because there's not enough time to sort of see that. And he seems to be struggling, I think, to realise that these three centre-backs that he plays, it's admirable, the go-getting sort of football. Yeah, but you can't play those three centre-backs in the Premier League and expect to win and expect to keep teams out, and even Bournemouth. Yeah,
if you're 2-0 up against Bournemouth and you lose, I'm willing to put that down as a relegation candidate in the new rules.
It's not great.
And they are the worst by underlying numbers so far this season. Obviously only 6 matches played, so grain of salt, but this is about when they start to reveal some hints of some patterns and them being really fucking bad.
I don't think so. I still don't think we have any information, just being the levelness of it and saying what I said before. I think everything before the World Cup for them is a free hit. And then they get a pre-season in the middle of the season, and then they attack the second half of the year. And obviously strengthen in January.
More strengthening.
The only other weird thing is that, and you guys all have to see this now as well, is I saw something where someone said that Steve Cooper looks like he's just been let out of a headlock all the time, and now I can't unsee it. God. Do you guys get to see it too?
Brilliant. Thanks for that.
That's it. That's your Nottingham Forest summary.
All right, moving on then. Moving up the table, we have two teams that I think people would probably be surprised to have this low, this far. This far is only 6 matches, but still, they're very, very far down. I'll take them as a pair because they play in similar jerseys.
Sure.
And we have West Ham and Aston Villa. Surprised. I am, at least. I was here on the podcast in the pre talking about how Villa were going to be good, carry on from some good form towards the end of last season. Coutinho was going to bang on. Gerrard going to bang on. He's looking likely to get fired, maybe next in line, him or B-Raj. And West Ham too, confusing. Aren't they supposed to be like a European team? Aren't they supposed to be good? What's going on? You guys tell me, what's the deal here?
I mean, Villa they strengthened early in the window and we thought that would be all right. And then Gerrard obviously lost his right-hand man. And now it's looking very bad and they want rid, but he also had a very similar start at Rangers, so
okay.
I don't know, he's also not in his first season, and West Ham is a weird one because they just can't seem to score goals, or they get their goals disallowed when they do score their goals, Oscar, as much as you
he almost murdered him. There should be a criminal investigation, there should be a 10-match retroactive ban. It was
a goal.
Dangerous.
Yeah. It was a goal.
But Mendy was brave. Honestly, the courage it took for Mendy to carry on in that game.
Anyway,
for all that time,
a true hero.
The weird kind of pinch of salt we have to say, though, with, Villa and West Ham and Forest, I guess, is they're only 3 points from, top half, basically. 11.
Yeah, it's tight.
It's very truncated, but we have to talk about something, of course. And you wouldn't have expected West Ham to perform this badly early in the season.
Are either of these teams going to be down in the relegation conversation come January or the end of the year, do you think? Or is this just like a early season table looks weird kind of situation?
West Ham shouldn't be down this far, especially with Paquetá signing, and they've strengthened quite well, I think. Villa, who knows? Less so, we would know.
Villa have too much money and talent, I think, to fall this far down.
Look at their fans. I was following some of their fans on Twitter, and they were complaining because they weren't spending money. And I thought, this is baffling.
Wow.
You spent 200, 300 million pounds on players in the last 2 years.
Yeah, they spent all the Grealish money.
Yeah, but they spent more than the Grealish money in the Grealish summer, and they spent more money before they sold Grealish as well. So And then even in this window, I think they still paid what? I mean, they bought Coutinho, and at first we thought that would be a great signing, but he seems to have just done nothing apart from another disallowed. Well, it wasn't a goal against Man City that we had. That was exactly the same kind of situation as the one against Palace, where the referee blows the whistle far too early. For something
ridiculous.
And in this situation, there is no debate to be had about whether a release or anything. Coutinho was fully onside, and it's fucking embarrassing. But we're not going to get into ref watch again this week. There's no point. We did it last week, and everyone else is doing it, so they're all just shit. But no, I don't expect Villa and West Ham to stay down here. They'll
me
pick it
neither.
up.
I think they'll be fine. They won't be like top, European contending probably anymore, either of them, but like they'll be fine.
I don't know. They're only 2 games away from Europe, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
At the minute, let's not.
The only thing I would say about Villa is that, as you said last week, there was a lot of stuff on Twitter about rumours about Gerrard imminent sacking, and this draw against Man City this weekend potentially is a stay of execution, and they've got a couple of decent fixtures next. I think it's Leicester and Southampton. But if Gerrard was to go...
big fixtures.
Yeah, they are big games. If Gerrard was to go, that would then potentially, all bets are off, because a change of manager can really disrupt things. But I'm only saying that because the rumours was, and the betting odds were that Gerrard was right up there to win the sack race. Obviously,
which is silly, because we've said this before, that like one performance shouldn't change a bad fit. A point against Man City, an unexpected point against Man City, doesn't make him a good manager all of a sudden. But then, you're going to give him the Leicester and the Southampton opportunity. But what happens then if he doesn't win both
that's the problem.
Of those games? And then we end up in a, there was Steve Bruce that was there for far too long. Watford did it with their managers, apart from the one good one that they didn't get rid of too soon. You see this where teams take too long because they think it's going to turn around. Norwich, in fact, Daniel Farker for ages before Dean Smith came in, and vice versa. Dean Smith was in for ages with Villa. So
yeah.
And then Everton are next in their shit. So
Everton are shit, but I do wonder, they have 4 draws on the bounce. Obviously, the biggest one is the most recent one. I know, title-winning form, exciting stuff, 4 draws on the bounce. But, they're getting points.
They spent money again.
Wait, who do they spend money on?
They spent money on Onana, that's his name, Dwight McNeil, Neil Maupay, renowned homophobe Idrissa Gueye again, James Garner from Man United, who's very highly rated and did really well at Enfo last year in the Championship, so confusing why they didn't sign them. Out of all the signings they did make. And then they brought Tarkovsky in on a free, and then Connor Cody on a loan as well. So some decent enough signings.
Yeah, some of those are names I recognize.
I mean, Pickford went super fucking Saiyan in this game, and just he was screaming at doing his job, but not angrily, it seemed some of the time. So I'm all for that. But yeah, Onana seems to be the one that's real quality. In there looks very, very good. 20-year-old defensive midfielder who came in from Lille. They spent big money on him, so. If they're going to get it, I mean, it's Everton, right? They're Man United further down the table. They spend a load of money and it doesn't click, and then they recycle, and then they spend a load of money on loads of other people and just never really seem to achieve anything. And I don't really see them pushing on with Lampard there.
Yeah, so a vaguely positive transfer window, but they are currently around about where we expected them to be. So they're probably going to be mid-table.
I had them in a relegation scrap. Do we still have them in a relegation scrap at the close of the window and 6 games in?
I mean, I had them getting relegated with Wolves and Bournemouth, so...
I mean, still could happen. We're only 6 games in. I think it's honestly 50-50. I think it easily could go badly for Everton because I just don't trust Frank as a manager, to be honest.
That's fair enough. We've seen nothing to sort of indicate that you should. The only thing I would say is if Calvert-Lewin comes back good, that could be big for them. If he comes back strong, then that could be really bad.
They
for
can't
them.
be relying on Neil fucking Maupay.
That much is true.
Everton in the Liverpool game, I'm pretty sure had a 4-on-1 and he missed it. That's fucking appalling.
Yeah.
Next up the table, we got your Palace. Chuck, surprised to see you this far down. I guess you have had a very tough set of fixtures to start off. This is about when your fixtures should be turning around, so I would imagine we'll see you flying right up the table.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about Palace and where they're at right now. Do you want to kind of sum up the transfer window, maybe, where you're at for like the moves they made this summer as a whole? Anything kind of later moves, etc.?
We made no late moves. We didn't. The last player we signed was Chris Richards about 4 or 5 weeks before the window closed. The club were playing brinkmanship with a lot of players. Ismail Assar for one. Gallagher obviously was the main target, which seemed a bit weird. Like we were wasting potentially time and resources on a player that we were never going to get on a permanent. Because Tuchel seems to love him, even if he doesn't use him in the right way. Although he used him a bit better, but he got very angry with him because he's not a ball progressive midfielder. Don't give him the ball, let him get the ball and shoot from very high up. That's basically what he's good for. So yeah, looking at our first 6 games, I would best case scenario have expected about 8 points. So to be on 6 is fine. Maybe from whence they came could have been a bit better, beating Brentford rather than losing, especially in the manner we did so late. Defending, that was fucking awful. And our underlying stats aren't good. For XG conceded, we are the 4th worst team in the league. But
you played City though.
Well, the caveat to that is the teams we've played against are 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 7th for XG created this year. So, we had this last year, I think, as well, where we played every team that was above us early on. And so we've still got a fairly rough 3. I mean, we've got Man United, then Brighton, then Chelsea. Man United, we could do something. You never know with these European games and exactly where they're at, but they've turned a good vein of form now. This is kind of about where I thought we'd be. It would be nice to be a little bit higher. You know, if we had one against Brentford, you're looking at top half of the table. Not that means much at this point, but yeah, I think we're fine.
You still thinking about European tour for like projecting forward?
Oh yeah, in the way that like loads of teams are, that it's still just a fucking toss up between enough teams.
What 8th place is the last European spot, right? So we're talking about Palace finishing top 8.
Yeah, or winning the FA Cup, which we'll do.
Or winning the FA Cup. Yeah, I mean, I have you solidly top 8 at this point.
And Jake Decore, who's been playing at defensive midfielder, is like phenomenal. When I watched him at the game against Brentford, like every time he got the ball, he made the right decision. His body shape was correct to put it into the right area. He was making progressive passes, making runs. Like he's absolutely phenomenal. He's the best centre mid, probably since like Kabay that I've seen play for us. So, and similar to Kabay, he seems to get tired around the 75th minute. So. Hopefully that'll improve. But yeah, no, I'm fine this season.
Held on to Zaha, that's got to be nice, right? There was rumors of him leaving for a minute there. Rumors of the podcast being disbanded in response.
Yeah. If Zaha had gone to Chelsea, I would have left.
Flat to sleep.
That's just it. Yeah, apparently Tottenham were asking questions and speaking to agent as well at the end, but I don't see why teams would do that, because in 15 games time you can speak to him and it'll be free to sign on a pre-contract for next summer. So, and the player as well to do that to get more money. So at least we're going to get him in theory for the whole season, and he's in great form. So that's great.
Yeah, 4 goals already in great form. All right. Let's keep going up the table then. Wolves, I think there's something interesting going on there. No? Not Ian just shrugged aggressively. Does not want to talk about Wolves, apparently. Why I would want to stop on a W team, I don't know. But something about me says that we should talk about Wolves. There might be some interesting stuff going on there.
No, they're the
Are
same.
they better than they were? Have we wildly underestimated them?
No.
I just find them incredibly dull to watch all the time. I mean, you take a minute and convince me otherwise about Wolves, and then we'll move on. But yeah, go for it.
Can I just not? Can I do the opposite? They've scored 3 goals off 5.7 XG. They've conceded 4 goals off 6.9 XGA. They're in the exact same spot they were. They're bottom 6 for XG created. They did sign a load of more Portuguese players, of course. They then signed Sasha Kalajdzic, who is a 6'7" beast who did his ACL in the first game. And obviously, because then they need to bump up their Portuguese quota, they are now signing Diego Costa on a free transfer.
Apparently so, yeah.
Yes, who is
a bastard.
Spaniard born in Brazil, so Portuguese, clearly.
Yeah. Speaks Portuguese.
He does speak Portuguese. Yeah, that would be great. That's the only reason I brought them up is because Costa might be back in the Premier League.
Oh, I see.
Watch him score against Chelsea now. He will not give a shit.
Honestly, I would be surprised if he didn't.
It is written.
A menace, a true menace, a hero of the art form. Bournemouth, Southampton, Newcastle, Fulham, Leeds, Brentford. Going to skip all of those unless there's any that you care about.
You wanted to take a minute for Wolves, but you'll skip all of them.
Yeah. Bournemouth are 13th.
For now.
All of us need to take a hard look at ourselves, especially Villa and Forest fans.
Bournemouth are 13th, but they're like almost as bad as Nottingham, and the two of them are very far away from everyone else in terms of the underlying numbers so far. Grain of salt.
Bad.
But like they're not like done anything to disprove really that they're awful. Like I do not reject that hypothesis yet.
Fulham are worth mentioning just because they are, what,
Oh, well, you were going to skip over Fulham. Yeah, Southampton are the Southampton, but they've got exciting young players now, but Hasenhüttl going to Hasenhüttl and they'll win 5, lose 5. Newcastle, whatever.
Yeah, I got no takes on Newcastle. They are slowly moving up the table as a team that has a lot of money and is making decent moves.
Don't worry, they are lobbying PGMOL and going to have conversations. I'm sure no brown envelopes will be and bungs will be happening and hope no one loses their heads over the whole situation. But and then Fulham, what the fuck, Fulham look great.
Fulham are all over the map. There's loss to Tottenham, win against Brighton, loss to Arsenal, win against Brentford, and draw with Wolves in their last 5.
Yeah, but that sounds all right to me. You've lost against the 2 North London clubs who are going to be challenging for European places. They've picked up points you wouldn't have necessarily thought so for
They're the only team to beat Brighton.
Is that right? Well, there you go, yeah.
Only team to beat Brighton so far this season, yeah.
I mean, Mitrovic has been scoring. Once they get this Chelsea game out of the way as well, the fixtures really ease up for him. It's then Enfo, Newcastle, West Ham, Bournemouth and Villa. I mean, Fulham could be pushing for their own their comeback European tour if they get decent points from that. I'm not suggesting they're actually going to finish 8th or higher, but I'm just saying it's a bloody good start, and
it's just going to be about consistency.
Exactly. If they can stay consistent, then they will insulate themselves from anything close to a relegation fight. So I just think they're worthy of note because Mitrovic is doing things he wasn't doing before.
He sure is, and he's fucking worth it in the FPL too. I had him in my week 1 and then dropped him out, and then I fucking got him back. And I'm on wildcarding this week, and it's the level to which I'm wildcarding back to my game week 1 team. It's like very frustrating.
But yeah, I think they've made a lot of really smart acquisitions early in the window, and then late in the window, they got Dan James from Leeds because need fast man, run fast. They have Layvin Kurzawa from PSG, who they've been trying to shift for God knows how long, and he's only on a loan transfer. And they've got a Willian.
Oh, have they?
I mean, yeah, he wanted to get out of Brazil pretty sharpish because it wasn't very fun for him. I think his family got death threats and stuff.
Good Lord.
And Andreas Pereira has been absolutely great for Fulham. And Joao Palhinha looks immense. Like, he's absolutely bosses that midfield. We saw it from game week 1 against Liverpool. He's an absolutely fantastic player for them, quite a good acquisition. I think we'll see how long that lasts, considering we've seen weird things. I mean, I know we skipped over Southampton there, but they signed Romeo Lavia from Man City in the summer, and Chelsea were apparently already offering them 50 million for it.
We were offering 50 million to everybody for everything.
Yeah, this is true. I had to turn it down a couple of times just because I had prior commitments.
You had other stuff.
But yeah, great one for the Golds. Matthew and Safira. Yeah, I just felt like leaving a gap there for you. Who must be having a bloody lovely time. Absolutely bloody lovely time. Fulham looking most likely to stay up, and what they've built and combined with Marco Silva seems to not be an absolute car crash. But speaking of absolute car crashes, the team in 9th place are absolutely fucking box office.
We have Leeds United for the listeners. Currently in 9th place, their last 5 games are draw, win, loss, draw, loss. Losses coming against Brentford 5-2 and Brighton 1-0. Their win being against Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Yeah. Tell me about Leeds. I thought they were going to get relegated. They're in 9th.
Yeah, they don't look like they're going to get relegated. They just look like it's like Bielsa's first season, where they look like they're going to have every game go 4-3 either way. But this time they've got a manager that likes to swear and get booked and get sent off.
I mean, invade the pitch.
Come on now, fucking lap of honour. It wasn't a pitch invasion. Every manager incursions into
he crossed the white line.
But I mean, he had a fair point. The Leeds player got absolutely fouled, and you saw him on the camera going, "That better be a fucking VAR check. You better fucking check VAR." That's a fucking pen to the ref, to the fourth official, and then he gets sent off and goes, "Yeah, but at least you're going to look at it." And he basically says, "No." He's like, "Fuck this." Absolutely, in a week of poor bullshit, that was absolute bullshit. Just mad. And so, yeah, I'm here for Jesse Marsh coming in. Everyone thinking he was Ted Lasso, but he's clearly led Tasso.
No,
I mean, this is what happens when you let Americans in. The riffraff. We start throwing shit, start getting in fights.
This is what we need. Because every time, like other American managers that have come in the league, have just been like, does anyone remember Bob Bradley? No. We're going to remember Jesse Marsh.
The invasion of baseball into the Premier League continues. Now we have analytics and back offices owned by baseball teams, and now we're going to start getting managers getting in the umpire's face. Next thing you know, there's going to be an American coach comes out wearing a full kit, just like a baseball coach.
Well, you can't claim that he hasn't got passion. Can you?
Passion, yeah. I need to control my temper better. No, Jesse, no, you don't.
He got booked to the match before this. He's had a fight with Bruno Lage. It's, this is good stuff. I'm here for Jesse Marsh this season.
Welcome, Jesse. The most important addition to the Premier League this season.
More Americans. The Americanization of England is a good thing, I think.
Sure.
Really not. It's really not. Don't be like us. We suck.
Steady on.
Brentford doing Brentford things in 8th place. Ivan Toney's great. Right, like they do analytics. This is, whatever.
World Cup. Get him on the fucking plane.
Yes, please.
Start him over Harry Kane. Is that what you're saying? I agree. That's the endorsement of this podcast. Ivan Toney is better than Harry Kane. You heard it here. Chuck Bailey quote.
No, just on the plane. Just on the plane. He is absolutely fucking brilliant. His penalties are incredible. His free kicks evidently are like penalties. And then he can just be the coolest man in the fucking stadium, winning the ball off the goalkeeper 35 yards out, beating a couple of players, going long and then just dinking it into the top corner. Absolutely lovely. What a hat-trick. What a man. Brentford have been great as ever. That's kind of why I'm so gutted about the draw that we had against them late, because that would have been an amazing 3 points, because they're just very organised. They're good at what they do. And they can put teams to the sword just like this. Even in a game where I think Leeds had 70% possession in this game, so shows how little it mattered. Run by analytics, so ticks the Oscar Boner button. Yep. XG created 5th in the league this year. Doing bloody lovely things, mid-table for XG conceded. So, Thomas Frank admits that they need to do better there. But yeah, if Ivan Toney, I can see higher up clubs coming in big for him this year.
Chelsea, frankly.
Yes, please, because then there'll be a lovely Peterborough sell-on clause. Oh, lovely.
Well, it would be Liverpool, but they just got Darwin Núñez, and he is a Liverpool fan. So it'd be interesting. I'd hate for him to go to Manchester United.
Yeah, so would I.
But yeah, I can see him going big. I can't see Brentford holding on to him for much longer, especially as he'll want to keep playing. But whilst they have him, let's not get doom and gloom. They look bloody great.
Yeah, Brentford doing Brentford things. Being great Brentford. Keep shining your beautiful little shiny light. We love you. Moving up next to someone who we love where they currently are, and that's Liverpool in 7th. Oh, when I start to get sad about the start that Chelsea have had, which is not a good start. It's been a tough time as a Chelsea fan this season so far.
Yep.
I just got to remind myself that fucking hell, Liverpool are beneath us in the table. That feels pretty nice to say. We can kind of take these two together. Honestly, they're both just teams that are in desperate need of a central midfielder who kind of tried to sign a central midfielder on deadline day, but like are teams that should be better with other pieces. Obviously, Liverpool more so than Chelsea, but it's kind of the same story, I think. No?
Horrible. Liverpool, I don't think because of when the games have fallen, I've watched as much Chelsea as I have Liverpool this year. I think I've watched at least 4 Liverpool games, and they look fucking shit, man. Like, bad. Apart from obviously the Bournemouth dismantling, I don't think Van Dijk has not looked himself at all in defence. Mo Salah hasn't been effective at all. Nunez obviously got the headbutt, and then Firmino came in and did well, but he's not going to be a permanent solution. They're playing Henderson and Milner in midfield.
Henderson's out for like a month now.
Is he? Okay,
Yeah.
bloody hell. And yeah, they had that massive list of injuries, which is going to hurt, but we've seen Liverpool in this situation before, and they didn't look this bad.
We've talked about their midfield issues for years now, and they've just been kicking that can down the road, just like fucking Chelsea. And I think like we have slowly watched them erode, and now all of a sudden we realize how far they've come slowly. So it feels like a big jump, but I think this has been like progressing in the background. Like the central midfield is a mess.
And I think where Luis Diaz is great and is a very good player, he's a different type of player than Mane. And I think Mane being on the other wing for Salah created more space for Salah, because I think teams know that Diaz isn't the same kind of player that's going to try and go deeper or beat in behind. He does take a few more touches and cut inside. And so that then means, you can kind of keep the pitch a bit smaller, keep yourself a bit tighter, and Salah's just not done anything. And any FPL player would know that. He's on the chopping block, basically. In a lot of teams, he would be gone from mine if they weren't playing Wolves next week. But yeah, they just haven't been clicking. They've looked really bad, really disorganised. Klopp's been subbing out Robertson and Trent and starting Tsimikas and, who else? Who's the other fullback? I can't even remember now. Not playing a consistent centre-back pairing due to injury, unfortunately, with Konate and Matip being out. But, yeah, Van Dijk's not looked his great self to be able to make up for that. And it's been, I dare say, almost United-esque of seasons gone by, that it's just been in some games a few moments of brilliance. You look at the result against Newcastle in the beautiful 98th minute of 95. Get fucked, you time-wasting Geordie pricks. Stop rolling out on the floor. And I think Chelsea's kind of been the same. That you could say it's just looked very disjointed. There's been no real progression or control of games in the same way, or that solid defence that I think Tuchel in his first 30 games conceded 16 goals, and in his second 30 games he conceded 32. So double, and yeah, not to kind of pick on that part at all, Oscar, but you just don't seem, you're not really creating, and you're not defending.
Well, I mean, to go back to Liverpool, you're saying Van Dijk doesn't look like his old self. I think the most important thing to a central defender is a good central defensive mid. I think that center backs especially look worse when they're exposed by the line in front of them. And when your central midfield can neither progress the ball, keep the ball, or stop the ball from getting played through them, just one of the three things that a central midfield should hopefully be able to do, it's going to make your defenders look bad, and it's going to make your attackers look bad. It's the heart of the fucking, it's the middle.
Yeah.
Everything else depends around it. And, Liverpool got an Arthur on the last day of the season, right?
Yeah. Fine.
And Chelsea got, or not the last day of the window, Chelsea got a Zakaria from Juventus.
Yeah, who Liverpool were trying for as well, apparently.
Both of them are technically names and people who can play, and neither of them, I think, are going to be the people that make the difference. I think both of these clubs needed to take a huge swing in central midfield, and Frankie de Jong is still at Barcelona. How did neither of these teams bounce on that?
Well, because he didn't want to leave. That was the problem.
But throw enough money at him. He wanted the reason he didn't want United was for Champions League. Well, we have Champions League, and we have as much, if not more, money.
That.
I don't know.
I think that's just paper talk, to be honest, and
maybe
the stuff. I think he wanted to stay at Barcelona. He wanted to play for Barcelona, and he also wanted Barcelona to honour the contract he had. So I don't think that there was a number for Frankie in terms of Frankie that would change that, unless it was game breaking levels of money. He's on. Well, he at Barca he's on 600,000 a week. So
yeah.
Were Chelsea going to go 700,000 to make that up to him? No.
Yeah, no, that's pretty tough, yeah. The larger point that it doesn't have to be Frankie, just some sort of superstar marquee central midfield signing I think both Liverpool and Chelsea needed to do and neither of them did. And I think both of those clubs had really good windows in some spots and really poor windows in others. And it's going to be a mixed kind of season. Like, I don't even want to talk about Aubameyang. What the fuck is that? Other than terrible, I'm hoping he's just coming in to be some depth and rotation, right? And we're not going to be seeing like regular minutes out of him the same way we kind of like got Eto'o for a season there at the end. Like maybe it's that. I don't know. That's the best case scenario, I think. But like Sterling is a great signing. Koulibaly, we way overpaid, but he's going to be great for a year or two before we are like, wow, we're spending a lot of money on this 33-year-old who's not good anymore. He's a great signing for this season, though. And I think that, like, you look around at a lot of the names that we signed, and I'm like, you know what? These are good signings, probably overpaid for about 90% of them. But whatever, Todd Bowley wants to splash his cash. That's his problem. Ignoring the overpaying aside, like, we signed some good players, but we didn't do enough in the right areas, I think.
Yeah, because would you, as much as you can... It's easy to justify it and twist it, but if you sat before any signings were made and were told that Bowley's going to spend £250 million on
biggest
players...
Biggest window in the history of the Premier League.
Exactly.
1 million short of the biggest window ever.
Yeah, was going to do that, and you were still going to feel like the team wasn't improved enough. Would you have been happy with that?
No, not at all.
Exactly. That's why I just think it's strange. Like, you've spent £72 million on Wesley Fofana, or whatever it is. You spent $60 million on Cucurella. Brighton couldn't believe their fucking luck and loaned out a player. Fair enough. There are some things he's doing, tying down Reece James to a 6-year +1 deal. Mason Mount's going to be the same. Breuer's going to be the same. All these young players as part of your Project 2030, however that works out to kind of move things across. I think Chelsea probably needed a centre mid, a progressive, decent, top quality centre mid more than Liverpool do right now, because I think, actually no, maybe not. Yeah, you both should have just signed someone. But obviously the big one is Jude Bellingham for next year. That's gonna, there's gonna be not a fire sale, a big bidding war for them, depending on what happens. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see off the back of the World Cup. If Bolly likes to splash the cash now, we all know there's overinflated transfer fees after a World Cup. So this January we could actually see the most movement as we come off that period. Who knows?
As Grace rightly joked, his investment company must be really happy that he's going back to work from his summer of pretending to be football manager. Because we need a director of football. We need someone they identified needs. They clearly knew we needed a central mid. And I don't know anything about Zakaria. He might be really good. He might not. His numbers indicate that he progresses the ball well and he does defensive things. He can tackle and intercept. Tackle less so, but he gets the ball back, right? So someone who gets the ball back and then dribbles sounds vaguely like a Conte. Certainly skill sets are there, but I don't know. He's not a super duper duper mega signing where immediately I'm like, oh fuck, we signed the best central midfielder in the world right now, or one of, right? So that's what I wanted more than anything. I like the names that we got. And like I said, I don't care if we overpay. It's not my money. When you're evaluating a transfer, you're like, oh my God, they spent 80 million on Ben White. That's hilarious. Or they spent 100 million on Fofana, like a Leicester, that's objectively funny for fans of other clubs. But I don't care how much we spent. I'm happy we got a Fofana. I'm happy we got a Koulibaly. I'm happy we got Sterling. Less so about Aubameyang, but this is not what I wanted at the end of the window. I think we made a lot of slightly improving moves, but I don't know Cucurella is much better than Chile.
Definitely not.
Sterling is an upgrade on Werner, but I don't know. It was a mixed window.
So where do you think, now looking at the landscape of everything, where do you think Chelsea finished this season?
I still think that we're the third best team, and I still think we'll finish in third.
Okay.
Can we get our best players out for a long enough time to be the third best team or not? Maybe. I don't know, but I'm still not concerned about not finishing top 4. Maybe I should be, because Arsenal and Spurs are both pretty good. And United may or may not be figuring it out, and we can move to United there. But I still have us in third. I don't know. Do you guys have us in 6th now? Looking at recent form?
We started the season, we said Chelsea had the big old error bars.
Yeah.
I can see you finishing 6th.
It's certainly in the realm of possibility, for sure. I also think that, like, we still are just, like, we haven't played, like, 4 of our major signings.
We're moving on to United, Oscar.
Still. So, yeah. United. Speaking of major signings and not really having played Casemiro yet, there's your tenuous transition, Ian. Manchester United are in 5th, above Chelsea and Liverpool.
Lol.
What? How? What? Won 4 games in a row? Manchester United? What? They beat Liverpool? What? They beat Southampton? That makes sense. They beat Leicester? That makes sense. They beat Arsenal? What?
They are 1% to get relegated, okay? Let's hold on to that.
Still hold on to it.
Still hold on to
Was
that.
I right? Was it just a matter of, like, getting, did he just need a couple of 10 hogs? No, did he just need a couple of hogs before he could find the right players in the right positions? Is it just a matter of, like, activating Sancho and Rashford and, like,
benching Maguire and Ronaldo?
Yeah, benching he will not be named and just fucking him off and being like, you're not actually good for our club?
It's mad that, to show the layman observation that we had, which was just bench the players that are causing the most problems, and he didn't win with them starting, and then he dropped them, and now they're winning. I don't like it. Will it last forever? Who knows? I don't necessarily think they were amazing against Arsenal. But they still beat a team that had done nothing but win so far this year. Granted, Arsenal need a bit of a reality check to kind of take them.
Arsenal fans especially need a fucking reality
Arsenal
check.
fans especially, you need to fucking get over yourselves.
Oh, people say I'm the joy stealer. Fucking hell, the top of the league. Let them have it for a bit.
Oh yeah, but the whole thing of celebrating against Fulham and the Richard Keys of it all, I don't care about that. You win a game, you win a game. Just stop glorifying someone who's under investigation for fucking sexual assault and rape and bemoaning the fact that he's not in your team. I hope his injury is serious. And that's about it. So I can see Manchester United pondering along nicely. And we'll see what happens with them, really. But they're still not necessarily, XG-wise, they've created 6.3. Which has them 0.9 below Everton, and XG conceded is kind of mid-table as well. So I'm looking forward to Palace playing them next week. I will be upset when we don't win it. What else do we want to say about United? Fuck all.
I don't know. You reckon they'll finish above any of the London teams? We had them clearly as the 6th of the big 6. Do we have them potentially at the 5th? With one of the London teams, probably Chelsea, I guess, at this point with the error bars.
Yeah, maybe. Well, anything could happen. It's still really early days for that. They could go on a decent enough run. And again, it's consistency of those clubs up there. Do we expect Liverpool to stay down there? No, so they're going to overtake. Do we expect them to overtake Brighton? Yes, so top 6 is the top 6. It's funny, isn't it, how we talk about the league each year, and naturally, even though they've been shit, 6 of the top 7 are the top 6 teams, so
still there, yeah.
Super League, baby. Shout out to United paying 85 million for Anthony when they could have bought him for 45 million at the start of the summer.
Well, this is it. They've gone all in on 10 Hag, haven't they? 8 Hag, sorry.
I think he's up to 9 Hag now.
No, he's still 8. He's still 8.
Because they essentially doubled his transfer budget halfway through the window when they realised that it wasn't, unless they fully sort of backed him, it wasn't going to happen.
I don't see this team being different to, and a few people said this, I don't see this team being different to Solskjaer being there.
Yeah, but if this guy knows more tactics...
Ooh,
like Solskjaer was just vibes, right? I don't know enough about Ten Hag to know that he definitely does, but like that is his reputation.
Nah, ball
Yeah, but take the Arsenal match. I don't know how much it was tactics. It was a counter-attacking direct performance that I guess you could say it plays to their strengths, but it was I don't know. I'm still not entirely sold on it. I mean, if he carries on making the good personnel decisions, then maybe he'll be all right and playing to the squad's actual strengths. But I thought, specifically with the Arsenal match, I felt it was as much of the old Arsenal panic setting in. It felt much more old Arsenal than we've seen for a long time.
And that goal being disallowed, that was fucking stupid. But
yeah, well, I mean, that was a weird one because the referee was looking right at it at the time. So I don't really know why it needed to be VAR'd. I do think it was probably a foul, but at the same time...
I've never seen a referee have to look that close to a monitor to figure something out. And like we've all said, if that's kind of what you're having to do to forensically analyse and relitigate every decision in every game, football's shit. So
yeah,
they need
especially
to
something that he had a good
this.
view of in the first place. I mean, he was staring right at the incident. I just found it very odd. But what I'm saying is that it was a more Arsenal doing Arsenal things, I thought, than Man United doing Man United things. But 4 wins on the bounce is great. I was sceptical when he first came in. Let's face it, he's dealing with different players now, because I think he has got some interesting players. And Scott Tomlin suddenly realised he's got to play to keep his shirt. So he did start playing for once. So there you go.
I scare them. I am scared of them. Scare me? They scare to me scared.
Words.
Words are good. Brighton, anything? They're in fourth. I actively stopped thinking about Brighton when I potentially start to think about Brighton, because I'm like, I'm not allowed to think about Brighton.
Yeah. Chuck will not allow it.
So, Chuck, do you want to say fuck Brighton and we can move on here? I don't know. How are they in fourth? Are they good? Question mark. I genuinely have no idea.
I mean, they did this last season and they were first for a while, and then they lost, didn't win for 17 games. So everyone just needs to cool their fucking jets. Graham Potter makes that fucking team. That's it.
Yeah, he does. He does.
And this is what I'll say. The guy is an absolute fucking genius, and he is a next level English manager. The likes of English manager we haven't seen, because he's tactically astute and can modify him and his team on the fly and adapt his players and gets players playing in positions that they never played before and are able to do successfully. And they can be greater than the sum of their parts. So when they lose him, they are probably fucked. They probably are fucked. And I don't think any Brighton fan would argue, Matt, with that, Eric Meyer, if you're still listening. Your team's shit and I fucking hate them. But
oh, wow, what a turnaround.
After just praising the coach for a few minutes.
People, well,
you've gone soft, Chuck.
Brighton's the exact same thing as plucky little fucking Bournemouth. They had a £300 million... They're like the fourth highest in debt to their owners' club in English football, and they had to spend all this money to get there. And yes, they do make some great signings where they make money on, for example, your Basumas, your Kukureyas and whatever, but they have this policy of spending about 10 to 15 million on players, and you're going to get some hits, you're going to get some losses. Does anyone remember Jahan Baks? Does anyone remember Jurgen Locadia? These players that they spent money that came in really high, that were FIFA fucking wonder kids or whatever that you pay for, and they just disappear into nothing. So you're going to have some hits, you're going to have some misses. That's what they've gone to, and they are doing it well. But they lost Dan Ashworth to Newcastle, and because I think it's a time of when they lose Graham Potter, because remember last year when they were getting booed, they were booing them off the pitch. He was saying, I need to have a history lesson on this club. Yeah. They need to fucking back him and respect him and back this team all the way, because this is as good as they get if he goes. That's it. If they keep him, fuck. I don't like it, but I don't see how a bigger team doesn't come in and go hard for him.
I think you're right. Great. It is him, because if you take their individual players, you wouldn't put. I don't know who you would put in a quote unquote better team than Brighton. I don't think any of them. I think they've all found their level at Brighton. I don't think any of them are pushing on for big moves anywhere else. And yet, they all seem to gel together at times. Because you're right, Chuck, last season they had a very good start, and then it fell away, and they're the classic underperformers of XG. So finishing is an issue. But they do seem to be great in some of their parts, and you're absolutely right, that is down to Potter.
If Brighton had Mitrovic, they'd be disappointed. They'd be 7th, easily. Without question, I think.
Yeah, finishing 7th,
But they don't, because they had Neil Maupay, and he's shit. Tottenham
did their business early in the window. They've been kind of up and down with the results. Most recently a win against Fulham, so the last 5, they don't have any losses, but it's draw, win, win, draw, win.
Same as City. 4 wins, 2 draws, no losses.
In terms of the underlying numbers, Spurs are 4th, behind City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Just solidly about the 3rd or 4th best team in the league, in the world, probably now, country. Let's just keep it there. We are the Super League. But is there anything new to say about Spurs, or is it just a work in progress and they're doing well for an early project, especially.
I think considering we've said how Liverpool have underperformed, Chelsea have underperformed, United obviously had a very shit start, and it feels like any time I've watched Tottenham that they've not gelled or clicked yet in the way I probably expected them to.
45 minutes at a time, they'll look real good, but they haven't put together a comprehensive, convincing performance, I would say.
No, I mean, I think that maybe comes with... Because Kane's still been great. Kane's been Kane and is just doing Kane things, and he's really good. Kulusevski's been I think it's because Kulusevski's son, and I guess now Richarlison as well, haven't really contributed as much yet.
Sonny especially, man.
He's done nothing, has he?
He was first round draft pick for Fantrax for me. I took him over Kane, and nothing.
Nothing.
Like, no points. And he's not coming up on FPL. I'm sure he's dropped value there.
Yeah, a lot. So it's quite strange. It is quite strange that they haven't clicked in the same way. But, they also have that revolving door of wing-backs because they signed, I think, 17 in the summer. A couple of injuries, I think now. But they've got Romero back and they put Romero on a permanent deal, which I think was really good. So I think now that means they've... Did they sign Kulusevski permanently as well? No, I think he's still
the
on
option
loan.
Is still available. I mean, they will do it,
which I think is good. And so and they've still got Conte, who is the third best manager in the league. So yeah, Tottenham are doing really well. I think all things considered, that when you look at the performances and they're sneaking a few in there. But I mean, underlying numbers, they're fourth, so it's not really miles away from where they actually are. So. No, I think they're going to improve, and yeah, they could secure that third spot. I think
for sure. They play Man City this week, which will be an interesting one to see. But where both teams are, it'll be a good gauge of both teams. I think that one
in the middle of the Champions League games as well. That's fucking interesting.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be rotation abound. Where do you prioritise? And yeah, it could be really interesting because City look like they can be got at this season, and if that Tottenham attack should click, and when it does, I think they've got one of the scarier attack forces of the league, to be honest. I think Richarlison fills that out quite nicely. I thought he looked very good against Fulham when he was on, so I think he's another good option.
When he popped his top off for a 3-1
that was fun.
Against Fulham, that's what Kesey should be going on about. Goal disallowed and a yellow card.
He keeps that yellow though.
That's brilliant. That's so good.
I think probably Spurs will be the best of the three London teams. The more we talk about it, the more I think that they'll be third, not Chelsea. Because they're just so much more stable. There's less error bars around them. And they're going to get, like you said, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And like, we can see what they are. There's no, like, questions or guesses. It's like, oh, this pattern, this player, this position, cycle, repeat, goal, win, next game. Like,
yeah,
you can easily see how they get to third or fourth place at the end of the season. Like, the path is very drawn out already. Whereas, like, you're a Liverpool or a Chelsea, like, the ways that they get to third or second place has a lot more detours, potentially. I think Spurs are at their stable equilibrium, I guess is what I'm trying to say, basically. Okay, well, moving up the table then from there, we have City. City in second place, but Haaland has 10 goals. Like,
in 6
he
games.
has 10 goals.
In 6 games.
He's gonna score 100?
More Premier League goals than Timo Werner.
Yeah.
More goals than Romelu Lukaku scored last year. More goals.
This feels very specific, Chuck. These comparisons.
I can't help it. More goals himself than 13 teams in the league.
Honestly, I welcome our new city not new. I welcome the city overlords, and let's fucking run this thing up. Liverpool aren't going to keep it up.
This
Arsenal,
is ridiculous.
Fuck Arsenal. They're not in the title challenge. Like, that's a joke.
They quote unquote made profit in the transfer window. I say quote unquote because everyone says, "Oh, Erling Haaland, great bit of business for 52 million." Agents' fees were 30 million on top of that. So he actually costs, I think, more than Darwin Núñez, who is the one that they're all beating the stick out over, especially once you factor in the ridiculous wages and everything they're on. But City gonna City. Remember Calvin Phillips? Remember him? No?
Yeah.
Didn't think so.
I mean, what's gone on there?
What's happened there? Exactly. Paying 50 million for players that they just don't care about, I guess.
They're on pace for 130 goals or something like that.
Is that all?
They've scored 20 in 6.
So, I said earlier that it seems like they can be got at, but it might not matter. If they just keep scoring goals at the rate, if they keep realising that Haaland's there, and it won't matter. It just won't matter.
I mean, they'll still be got at, and there will still be results, because that is just what happens. But are they going to be the most consistent team of those ones? Well, the evidence so far shows yes, that they...
Scoring wise, at the very least, yeah.
Yeah, they will. And they'll if they have to revert in their adjustment period, as it were, to just giving the big guy the ball and letting him score, that's going to happen. So... But I am surprised at the Villa result. I'm surprised in the manner at which they went 2-0 down to Palace. I'm surprised in the manner of which they went 3-1 down against Newcastle. I guess maybe it's the same as like Eight Hag said, that he was surprised at the start that the Premier League teams, like, they went at him. He underestimated the first teams. He's kind of admitted that, so maybe that's why they've sorted their shit out now. And maybe Man City had a bit of the same, or fuck knows. We've got Champions League games now. They play Spurs, which is kind of the first big clash. They don't play Liverpool for a little while, I think. Let's take a look. Liverpool, they've got Liverpool mid-October. So that's kind of a big test. And then Arsenal the game after as well. And then they don't play like Chelsea and Man United until January. So they could just be out of sight by then.
The thing with them that could derail them is World Cup injuries, because they do have a lot of players going to the World Cup.
I need to sit down and work out actually how many teams are going to lose how many, and I'll come back to you. Let's do a bit of FPL. We've mentioned it before. A really low-scoring, terrible week for everyone, pretty much.
Yep, I triggered my wild card halftime of the 10 a.m. matches.
Woo!
Fuck this.
Wow.
He's back, baby. Yeah, I triggered my wild card, I believe, the day before this one's deadline, and got a load of shit. Well, no, not a load of shit. I love my bloody team, and I think it's great. But yeah, Salah's on last knock-ins. I got 49 points this week. Ian, how many points did you get? Oh, wow, the points go that low today.
They do.
36.
Ooh, yeah. Ian, that's bad. That's bad.
Yes, it is. A game week rank of 8 million. Thank you.
Wow, I thought I did bad. It was a game week rank of
Wow.
about 5 million, but that's 3 million better than you.
You got 44 points.
I got 44. Ian, you'll love this. I'm sure, I don't know that this is going to annoy you, but I'm 100% sure this is about to annoy you if I know you. I rolled my transfer into a wild card.
That's disgusting, man.
Oh.
I never roll my transfers.
I feel so dirty.
For 1 week, I roll a transfer in probably my entire FPL career. And the next week, I'm like, fuck it, wild card.
Brilliant.
God,
Okay.
unbelievable.
Well, I mean, out of the three of us, this embarrasses me that I'm only 3 points above Oscar after I had a terrible game week. Not this game week, but we won't talk about that. Ian's on 372. I'm on 359. Oscar's on 356. But let's do our top 10 in our Mophead League. Again, Oscar mentioned before, you can join. The link is in the show notes, or DG63M. In joint 10th place. Oh, a three-way. Lovely. We have Pad 4 with Fluffy Nutkins, Johnny Worthington with McGinn and Tonic, and Rob Heppenstall, Wild Panenka. These guys are all on 394. On 395 in 9th place, we've got Lynn Hamer, Atletico Bourneville. On 396, we've got Gabriel Penaloza and Baby Jota. On 397, and in 7th place, joint 6th place, weirdly, we've got Mighty Reds Wannabes, Andrew Mercer and Vin Lee. Still question mark. 397. We then got a bit of a jump. 5th place, FTI Die FC, Saphira Gold. Bah!
Oh,
He
fuck
pressed
it.
the button.
Gold.
Thank you. I'm saving my voice now. It's quite late. 405, but a 38-point game week. Oh, bad times. 4th place, Wheeze Wanderers, Owen Carr on 411, and as well on 411, the ranking system is so fucked on this thing. Jesus Christ, FPL, sort out your website. At 70-point game week, Mr. Mike Wellman, make Leeds great again. Absolutely top-notch work on your wildcard, sir. Second place, Chicken Tikka Mo Salah, Chris Smith, 4-1-2, so 1 point ahead. And still holding on there. Van Dam, Wham Bam, Sam Dam Balambi, with Here Comes the Sun on 421 points, mate. Absolutely immense. What is your overall rank? Wow, 23,567.
That's almost top 20,000. Wow.
Numbers.
Yes.
Yay! Does that mean it's time what I think it's time that I think it is for?
Sure.
Bluff for time. Bluff for time. It's bluff for time. Bluff for time. It's bluff for time. It's bluff for time. It's bluff for
Close
time.
and tabs.
Bluff for time. Bluff for time. Bluff for time. It's bluff for time.
Going
Time
a
for
bit
bluff.
Route 1 on the lyrics this week, Oscar.
Yeah, a little bit. It's the Bluffer. It's the last of the Bluffer trilogy. We may come back to more Bluffers later in the year. We do love the Bluffer around here, but while I am still sticking with the trilogy theme, this is the third of 3 Bluffers. Back at some early days in the pandemic, we did a trilogy of episodes that were just around what Bluffer. The Bluffer works with. I bring some categories. Those categories have items in them. They bet on how many they can name from the categories until one of them calls it. If they get the number they said they could, they get the point. If they don't, it goes to the other person who called their bluff. In the interest of time, listener, we are cutting 2 categories, so we're going to do a best of 3 this week. So I just cut the MCU movies and the books of the Bible, but those were in the 3rd episode of the Bluffer trilogy way back in the pandemic days. So now we are down to 3. So Mr. Stimson, I'm going to let you pick first. Do you want 1, 2, or 3?
1, please.
All right. Oh, you're going to love this one. 21.
Nottingham Forest players.
Alan Partridge appearances according to the Alan Partridge Wikipedia entry, spanning from the years 1991 to as recently as 2022.
TV appearances.
Some of these look like it's radio. Some of these are TV series, TV special, a charity concert, a feature film, a talk show. Does not include in a separate table guest appearances, which are at like talk shows, nor is it books or fundraising.
Okay. I'll go 12.
Lucky 13.
14.
And have it.
14.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we did this before and you won it anyway, so let's...
Yeah, I must admit I can't even remember doing this, but okay.
Ian hasn't taken a category in weeks, so we'll see how this goes. Ian, you got to go 14, right?
I'm going to go scattergun. I don't do things in the same way you do.
Because you're a normal human.
Yeah. The day-to-day.
Yes, 1.
Knowing me, knowing you.
Aha!
Now, that's a radio
Yes.
show and a TV show.
You're not getting 2 for that, you prick.
I will give you a mulligan if you need it, but I'm not. I did count that as part of the 21 because it is there twice. But yeah, so yes, that is correct. 2.
Knowing me, knowing Yule.
3, yes.
Okay. The film, Alpha Papa.
Genuinely
4.
don't see that. Oh,
Well,
yes, there it is. 4. Yes, 4. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right, let's have a think then. Scissor Dial.
5.
Yeah.
I'll do it quicker than
Yes,
Oscar. 5.
Yes.
Welcome to the Places of My Life.
Yes,
6.
6.
Mid-Morning Matters.
7. Are you going to
Yes.
pull the radio and the YouTube and the TV show on that as well, you prick?
No. That's just listed as a TV series.
Oh my god, so I've got 7 more to get.
Yep. Chop, chop.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my god, right, okay. This is actually much harder than I thought.
Because you've actually taken a category for once.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, what was the radio thing he did that was the day-to-day but on radio, basically? Well, I'm Alan Partridge.
Thank you. Finally.
Yes.
8.
6 more.
6 more.
Yep.
Comic Relief.
Fuck off. That's guest appearance, surely.
Oh yeah, it must be.
Yeah, I don't see anything called Comic Relief. Yes,
Yeah.
that is a fundraising guest appearance.
Fine. I deserve that.
You could have had On the Hour,
On the Hour, that was the day-to-day radio one. Bloody hell.
Christmas Nights with the Stars, Alan
Didn't know that.
Partridge's Country Ramble, Election Night Armistice, Anglian Lives.
Haggling Lives. yeah.
Lives, yeah.
Teenage Cancer Trust concert.
Right, okay,
God.
that's not a charity.
I don't know. It's listed under official appearances as opposed to fundraisers.
Brilliant.
TFI Friday, why, when, where, how, and whom. From the Oast House and this year's live tour Stratagem.
From the Host House was a podcast. Right, okay, well, an audiobook. If I could have had the audiobooks, I'd have had 3.
Yeah, remember when I got given Top Gun things after I said I'd never watched Top Gun? Yeah, suck it.
All right, fine.
Shut up.
All right, category goes to Chuck.
Yes!
Chuck, would you like left or right?
Left. It's never done me well, served me well so far, so let's go with it again.
There's a fucking lot of them. I'm not going to count.
Oh.
The Modern Orchestra, according to liveabout.com, because Wikipedia is a confusing list.
Okay. Do we get a number so we know what to bid?
31.
31?
Yes, according to
That's
wikisource.org.
Oh, right, the website's changed. Brilliant.
It's like Wikipedia. It looks like Wikipedia.
Oh, fucking hell. This has got bloody IMDb written all over it. Is it my bid? Out of 31?
Yeah.
I'll go down the middle plus a little bit, 16.
17.
19.
Go on, take 19.
19 orchestra, modern symphony orchestra instruments, Mr. Chuck.
Oh dear, 19 out of 31. Okay. A string quartet is a violin, a viola, a cello, and a double bass.
Mm-hmm.
Other stringed instruments are available, like the harp.
Yep.
Let's go with trumpet,
Yes.
trombone. I'm doing brass now.
Yes.
You're welcome. Euphonium,
8.
tuba,
Good.
tuba
9.
for our American listeners. Horn, French horn,
10.
flute.
Yes. You're on the woodwinds.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sure.
You left a couple of brass instruments behind, but okay, we're on the woodwinds now.
Clarinet, oboe.
2. Yeah.
Oboe Mabo.
Did I say bassoon?
You did just now. 14.
Piano.
Nope. Pew.
What?
It is not officially part of the Modern Symphony Orchestra.
Okay.
That's like a controversial thing.
It certainly will be.
Whatever. This is me just getting fucked by which website Oscar chooses again. So
Well, it's 1-1, which means we have one last category for the win. Ian, ranks of the army in the UK.
Oh, no. So bad. Okay. 5.
how many are there? Again, you haven't told us.
19. 19 ranks of the army in the UK Army on their own website, army.mod.uk. This includes the soldier and officer ranks all the way from bottom to top.
8,
9.
10.
How much Call of Duty have you been playing recently, Chuck?
I mean, I was nearly in the army when I was 18 years old, so this will be
God.
very embarrassing.
Take your 10. Go on.
Private,
1,
corporal,
2,
sergeant,
3.
second lieutenant, captain,
Well,
major.
you skipped a few.
Yeah, I know. I skipped out the warrant officer ones because I didn't know which ones we were going to do.
8.
Colonel,
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
Woo!
Very good.
I can do more.
Yeah, keep it going.
Well, I didn't know if Lance Corporal was going to be in there.
That would be down in the soldier ranks. It is there, yes. You
Warrant
skipped that
Warrant Officer 1, 2, 3, and 4.
one. Just Warrant Officer 2 and 1, according to their website.
Okay. Brigadier General.
Oh, there's Officer Cadet.
Field Marshal. Major General.
Major
Lieutenant
General,
General.
Field Marshal. Yep.
Other ranks are available.
Yeah, I think you got everybody.
Sick!
Played.
Fucking
Well
Good
played.
job,
one.
Chuck. All right, we're 3-3 on the season. We are leaving the bluffer behind.
Okie dokie. So we're in Champions League week. Lots of stuff going on, obviously. Anyone in the UK with BT Sport, you get every game. Anyone in the US with Paramount Plus, I want to say, you get every game.
Yes.
Yeah? Sick. Look at me. International. Speaking of international, Ian, can we get a Barbados check, please? Yes,
You
baby.
can.
We put it out in the world. We willed it. Ian Stimpson.
At one point last week, we were 5th most popular sports podcast in Barbados. Not even football, sports, all of sports.
Sports! Back in Barbados. Thank you to all of our Bayesian Bayesian listeners? Bayesian.
Barbodian.
Bayesian.
Alexa, what do you call someone from Barbados?
A person from Barbados may be referred to as Barbadian.
Barbadian.
But Bayesian is another term for Barbadian.
Yeah, I win. Anyway, football. Speaking of Barbados, very much like Barbados, West London derby. Oh, Fulham versus Chelsea kicks off the game week on Saturday, this coming Saturday. And then we have the usual 3 o'clock dearth of Bournemouth against Brighton. This one's for all the buzz. Leicester versus Villa. This one's for all the shit munchers. Liverpool versus Wolves. Liverpool just need to win. Southampton versus Brentford. Red and white derby. And Man City versus Spurs rounds off the day. We then have Arsenal Everton on Sunday. West Ham Newcastle. And Crystal Palace against Manchester United. And Monday, Leeds versus Enfo, baby. Lots of decent fixtures. All the fixtures are great. We're in the crazy mixed up times. Thank you very much. This will be also the last deadline that you can enter the Predictor League. So get your picks in. That's below in the show notes. Win yourself 50 quid, £51. Who fucking knows? Say goodbye, Oscar.
Bye.
Say goodbye, Mr. Ian Stimson.
Bye-bye.
And a big thank you to our producers, as ever, on Patreon. Nate, Mark, Sam, Jeff, Andy and Tom. Thank you very much for listening. Shout out Barbados and bye-bye.